Hello everybody, this is part 3 on how to make a shoot 'em up game in Scratch. In this tutorial, I will rework some of the game mechanics of the player plane and the enemy planes, as well as make the player plane able to shoot the enemy planes and vice versa. I will also add a scoring system, and if I can get to it this video, player lives. If you haven't seen parts 1 or 2 of the series yet, check them out, links are in the description below. Anyways, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is to review all of the code in my current sprites, since it's been a long time since the last part of this series. So yeah, anyways, let's start with the player plane. And I'm going to rename this to player plane. And so the movement is really simple. Just change X or Y based on the key pressed. And I actually don't really like this anymore. I think I'm going to have a new type of movement. So I'll just take this out. And I'll actually make it so that the plane stays in the same Y position, and it also follows the mouse pointer. So let's just first drag a point towards mouse pointer, and drag a move 10 steps. And let's change this to maybe 20 steps. And let's see, let's set the Y position to -100, which is the same Y position when the plane starts out. So the Y position should stay the same, and then the plane simply points towards the mouse pointer and then moves 20 steps. So let's try it out. And okay, the plane is sideways, and that is because I need to rotate it so that the plane is facing the right. And yeah, so let's do that. I'll drag over the plane, then rotate this towards the right. And okay, I think that should be better. So just as a reminder, any sprite that is pointing upwards has to be facing the right when you create it. So that's just the thing. Yeah, so now, as you can see, the plane points towards the mouse pointer and does not move in the Y position. So I actually like that better. I'm going to change actually the Y position to something lower. I'm going to make the plane go down a bit. So maybe Y -120. Let's try that. And okay, maybe a bit more down, so -140. Let's try that. Okay, that looks better. Oh, and one more thing I noticed is that the plane can go backwards like this, and I don't really want that. I want it so that like it can only go a certain like amount of degrees to the right or left. So to do that, let's grab a if statement, put it inside the forever loop, and let's grab a lesser than operator, drag it inside the if statement, then go to motion, and then drag the direction circle thing. And if the direction of the plane is less than, let's say, -45, that looks good. So if it's less than -45, then let's set the direction to 45, or -45. So let's drag a point in direction, put it inside the if statement, and type in -45. So if the direction of the plane is less than -45, then it should just set it to -45. And it won't be able to go further than that. So let's test it out. So as you can see, it works. The plane can't go backwards when it's going towards the left. And let's do the same thing for the right. So we can just duplicate the if statement, and we can right click this operator again to change this to greater than. So if the direction is greater than, let's change the -45 to 45, then point in direction to 45. So let's try it out. And okay, that works. The player plane cannot go further or lesser than 45 or -45. So yeah, I think I like this much better. So I might just keep it that way. So yeah, I'll just delete these 4 if statements. And now we have our new movement. Now let's go to the bullets. Okay, as you can see, when flag is clicked, then the original bullet sprite hides. Then it has this variable called side. And this is so that the bullets can alternate sides when shooting. See, left, right, left, right. And okay, if M is pressed, okay, I actually want to change the M to space bar. I like that better. So when the space key is pressed, then if side equals left, and then it goes to player plane, but like offset by a little bit. Then it creates a clone of itself, sets side to right, waits 0.2 seconds. And then same thing in the else statement, but it sets side to left. And so yeah, and in the clone, it just shows, repeats until the Y position is greater than 175, which is over here. Then it keeps increasing Y by 16. Then once it reaches 175 or higher in the Y position, then it deletes the clone. Alright, so let's see. Let's test it out. And okay, it doesn't really work because I have this new movement and the bullets just stay in the same direction, and I don't really want that. So to change that, let's actually grab a point in direction, and then let's go to sensing, grab a this block over here. Let's drag this into the point in direction and change it to direction of player plane. Now let's put that inside of the when I start as a clone. Before it repeats until Y position is greater than 175, it just points in direction of the player plane. So, oh yeah, one more thing is to take out the change Y by 16, and we want to move 16 steps. And that's different than change Y by 16, because in change Y by 16, it only goes up by 16 steps. However, in move 16 steps, it goes 16 steps in the direction of where it's currently facing. So yeah, let's test it out now. And okay, the bullets are sideways again. That is because we need to go to our costumes and shift it so that it's facing the right. So let's do that. Over here. Alright, let's test it out now. Now they're facing upwards, and I think they're spawning on top of the plane. Very slightly, I think. Okay, let's just in case, let's go to looks, grab a go back 1 layers, drag inside of the when it starts a clone, and just to be safe, let's just change the 1 to 99 layers so we ensure that it goes on the very bottom. And yeah, we don't need the go to front in this. So yeah, let's test it out now. And this works pretty well. The bullets go in the direction of the player plane. Okay. I might make the bullets black. Let's see how that looks. I think that looks better. So yeah, okay. I'll keep it like that. And I might want to make it so that when the mouse is clicked, then the bullets shoot instead of space. So let's just grab a if mouse down. That's in the sensing. So I'll replace that with mouse down. And I think, and yeah, that works. All right. So yeah, next up is going to be our enemy planes. I'll rename this to enemy planes. So in the enemy planes, when it starts, it has this variable called counter, and it sets it to 0. It deletes everything from the direction, X position, and Y position lists, and then it permanently creates clones of itself every 4 seconds. And in the clones, when it started, it shows, goes to random X position over here, and then it points towards player plane, and then it just goes downwards slowly until it reaches the edge over here, and then it deletes itself. And it also changes counter by 1 every second, and counter is a variable. I'll explain this later. And it adds its own direction, X position, and Y position to each of the direction, X position, and Y position lists. Then it creates a clone of Sprite 4, and Sprite 4 is the enemy bullet. Then it waits 1 second. So what this does is pretty much just move downwards, and then it just updates some data, and we will get to that in the enemy bullet. So let's go to there, enemy bullet. I'll rename this to enemy bullet. And in enemy bullet, there is a when it starts as a clone. And this is from the enemy plane, where it creates clone of the enemy bullet every second. So the enemy bullet, when it starts as a clone from the enemy plane, it shows and then points in direction of the item counter of the list direction. So this sounds and seems a bit confusing, but what this does is that we want the bullets to spawn from each individual enemy plane, right? However, they all have different directions and different X and Y positions. So how does the bullet know which one to spawn from? Well, the player planes always change a variable called counter by 1 every time it creates or every time it shoots a bullet. So this bullet, when it spawns, it goes to the counter variable, and since the enemy planes add their own direction, X position, and Y position to a list, it goes to the item counter of that list. So let's say counter is 1. So let's say there's one enemy plane, then it shot its first bullet. So since counter was 0 when the flag is clicked, it changes counter by 1. So now counter is 1. Then it adds its direction, X and Y positions to the list. And then in the enemy bullet, since the enemy plane created a clone of the enemy bullet, when the bullet spawns, it will point in direction of the item counter, which is 1, of the list, which is direction. And since the direction list was empty when it started, however, the enemy plane added its own direction to the direction list. So in the enemy bullet, it went to the first item of the list, which would be like the enemy plane's direction. So just point in the enemy plane's direction. So yeah, when there's multiple planes, the enemy bullet would know which plane to spawn from and which direction to point in. Anyways, yeah, that's the same thing for the X and Y position. And then it just moves 12 steps until it's below this line over here. So yeah, anyways, let's test our game for right now. Alright, first thing I noticed is that when the player shoots the bullets and they touch the right side of the screen, they don't disappear. And I want to do that, so let's go to our bullets. And let's actually change the repeat until Y position is greater than 175. Let's change that to, let's see, sensing, yeah, alright. So let's delete the Y position is greater than 175. We don't need that. Let's drag a touching mouse pointer and then change that to edge. So once it touches the edge, then it disappears, like that. Alright, that's much better. And for some reason I see that when the first enemy plane spawns, there's a enemy bullet that shoots towards the right. Let's see. Let me play that again. So enemy plane spawns, then there's a bullet right there. Alright, that's weird. This should work. Let's see. Okay, that one bullet always just spawns right there. Alright, I will take a moment and then see what's wrong. Okay, so I found out the problem, and that was because since these two scripts run at the exact same time when a new enemy plane is created, the enemy plane actually adds its own direction, X position, and Y position to the lists before even going to the actual X position and Y position and the direction. So what we do is actually put these two blocks on top of this forever loop. So now the X position, Y position, and the point towards blocks are in the forever loops, or in front of the forever loops, where the plane changes or updates its positions. So yeah, now if we run it, this works. Now there's no more bullets that start in the middle of the screen. So yeah. Okay, another thing I found out is that the enemy planes, sometimes they don't disappear, and that is because the Y position is not small enough. So we can just change it to repeat until Y position is less than negative 183. Let's see that. Enemy plane. Alright, there is one. Let's see if that works. Alright, that works. But I actually don't really like that because they sort of just like disappear. They don't completely go off the screen. And some of them still stay there. So I think what I'm going to do is add a square or like a dot at the very edge. So like over here. Then I'm going to move this sort of back. Okay, I'm not sure if this works, but I'll try it. So let's see. If there's an enemy plane, and alright, you can still see the dot, so never mind. Okay, never mind, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I think I can deal with this right now, so I'll just change it to like if Y position is less than maybe negative 180. Let's see if that works now. Let's see. Enemy plane. Alright, there is one right here. And they should disappear. Okay, yeah, I think they have more than enough space. So, okay. I think that'll work. And yeah. Now, I think the player plane and enemy planes are fine. And I am going to add a simple scoring system. So for right now, I'm just going to create a variable. I'll name it score, and then I'll leave it there. I'll leave the variable there. So let's just make it so that whenever the player destroys an enemy plane, we can change score by like 10 or something. So let's first, let's see. Alright, let's first make the player plane able to even hit the enemy planes. Because right now the bullets don't even like touch the enemy planes. Like they do, but like they don't do anything. So let's go to the enemy planes, and then in this one, let's grab an if statement, and let's check if, go to sensing, grab it touching bullets, which are the player bullets. Then we can just hide for now, I guess, or delete this clone. And then let's go to data and just change the score by like 10 or something like that. So yeah, let's also set score to 0 when the flag's clicked. And let's see. Let's go to our bullets now. And we can just go to operators, grab an and then go to sensing, grab a touching, change that to enemy planes, and then add that to the repeat until loop. So repeat until touching edge, or actually change that to or, sorry about that. Repeat until touching edge or touching enemy planes. Then the bullets hide. So yeah, let's test that out. Okay, enemy plane, we shoot it, enemy plane disappears, and the bullets do not disappear. And okay, that is because the enemy plane disappears first before the bullet has a chance to disappear also. So okay, let's go to control, grab a wait, like 0.01 seconds or something really short. And this is to ensure that the bullet code runs first before the enemy plane code runs, or like deletes the clone. So let's try it out. Enemy plane, and the bullet and enemy plane both disappear. Alright, and the score increases. Cool. So there is our simple scoring system. And I actually don't want the enemy planes pointing towards the player. I might just make it go straight like up and down. So maybe just take out the point towards player plane. And I think that's fine, to be honest. Yeah, maybe make the range smaller or larger actually. Maybe from negative 272 to 240, I guess. Let's test it out. and it'll actually create an enemy plane every 2 seconds. And yeah. Oh yeah, the bullets. Yep, okay. Let's replace the move 2 steps in the enemy plane with a change Y by -2. So yeah. Or actually, I will keep that. Actually, never mind. Sorry, sorry. You know what? I'll keep that, and I'll just make the enemy plane still point towards the player plane. So let's just add that back in, and now we should be good. There's our enemy planes, and they point towards the player. Nice. Okay. Yeah. I'll make them spawn faster, I guess. Maybe 1 second. And make them move like 3 steps, maybe. A bit faster. So, alright, there's more enemy planes. And I also want the player plane to die after touching the enemy bullets. So, go to player plane. We can just have a simple stop all scripts for now. So, go to control, grab an if statement. Then go to sensing, grab a touching block. Change that to enemy bullet. Oh, actually grab an or, and then, so if it's detecting enemy bullet or enemy plane, then go to control, just stop all for now. For now, okay? So if it's touching any enemy plane or bullet, then all scripts stop. Alright, cool. So yeah. Now we have our new and updated game. So, yep, I'll just do some play testing. Alright. Okay, I think I like this much better now. Anyways, that's it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe too, if you haven't already. In the next part of this series, I will be adding lives to both the player and enemy planes, so the planes can survive more than one shot. And I will add more stuff too. Anyways, that's it for this tutorial. See ya.